So after a year that I think a lot of us would rather forget, I wanted to take this chance to look back at some of the better moments of 2020 by recapping some of the best hidden details in video games that you may not have noticed. Now, as this is a best of video, I will be covering some details that I have featured on my channel before, but I could hardly make a best of video and ignore all of the excellent details I've already covered this year, could I? As usual, if you think I've missed a detail that should have been in this video, then be sure to let me know in the comments or on my social media accounts, the links to which are in the description. Oh, and if you do go on to enjoy this video, then leaving a like, subscribing, or turning notifications on is really appreciated. Anyway, without further delay, let's get started. So first up, let's take a look at Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. The remaster decided to ditch the game's much-loved multiplayer and instead focus its attention on the campaign. This meant that the devs were able to make some small but cool changes to the campaign, including some all-new executions. These unique executions could be found at certain points in the game and weren't present in the 2009 original. Here are just a few of my favourites.
You got him. We're clear. Civilian hostages at your position. Watch your fire. Roger that. Team 1 moving to position. 1, 2. Tango to your left.
Another new addition to the Modern Warfare 2 remaster was the ability to inspect your weapons. Well, during the Hornet's Nest mission, if you try to inspect your weapon, this will happen.
Yeah, you got 30 seconds. Run!
So Roach will attempt to play rock, paper, scissors with himself. It's really cool, if a little sad. So up next is another remaster, this time it's Destroy All Humans, a game series known for its often risky sense of humour. Well, the detail from Destroy All Humans is one that I don't think is going to need much explaining. In Rockwell, you can find this. As I said, I'm sure you guys know what's going on here, and if you don't, well, ask your parents. Oh, and if you head to the same location at night, you can find somebody who I'm presuming is the town's mechanic trying to fix the cars. Next up is the Eggcellent MAFIA Definitive Edition, a game full of cool little details. My pick of the bunch can actually be found pretty early on in the game. During the Molotov party mission, you had to sneak up behind a guard whilst Paulie distracts him. If you take your time though, and just stand behind the guard, Paulie will say this.
Listen, fella, who are you? You know Dino?
Yeah, I know Dino. There was this one time when I had the chance to get him from behind and choke him out. But for some reason, I hung back. Missed my chance.
What are you talking about?
I should have done it. I should have stopped dicking around and took him out before things went south. But I didn't, as I was a dumb prick who for some reason don't do what he's told. Jesus Christ, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it take the guy out.
Ah, get bent, pal.
Whilst we're on the topic of hidden dialogue, something which regular viewers will know that I love, let's move on to the Resident Evil 3 remake. A key location in the RE3 remake is the Raccoon City Police Department, a place you have to investigate when playing as Carlos. Well, when exploring the station, Carlos will sometimes comment on the things that he finds. Here, take this door for example.
Now here's a weird fucking door.
Leave it. We're here for Bard.
So Carlos rightfully calls out the very odd design of the RCPD. Upstairs in the STARS office, if you shoot the dartboard, Carlos will say this.
Oh yeah, the kid still got it.
Let that be a lesson to all dartboards.
There are more examples of these hidden dialogue moments, but these two are probably my favourite. So up next is a game that released last year, but the character involved in the detail was released this year, so it definitely still counts. The Joker was added to Mortal Kombat 11 in January, and as you may have guessed, he references his nemesis Batman a lot. Perhaps the coolest moment of the Joker mocking Batman can be heard when performing the Batsy Poo move. When performing this move, the Joker will pull out a Batman puppet before using the puppet to fire a shot at his opponent. It's a move that takes just 1 to 2 seconds to perform, but if you do the cancel version, the Joker will hold the puppet out for a longer time where you can hear some pretty funny dialogue.
Look, it's Beto! I'll save the day. You'll pay for this, Joker. Pipe down, Pipsqueak. Useless. Get out here. It's dark in there. Don't bats like the dark? Wait, who's that? No, just some clown. Scram. Ta-da! I'm so tough. Aw, so cute. Pick on them. Get 'em, bats. Useless.
So next up is the ever-divisive The Last of Us 2. Now, regardless of your opinions on the game's story, the decisions made with its characters, or the agendas the game's writers may or may not have had, you cannot argue the fact that The Last of Us 2 is an incredibly detailed game. In fact, there are so many cool details in The Last of Us 2, narrowing it down to just a couple for this video was actually pretty tough. The first detail can come in pretty handy if you ever find yourself surrounded by clickers. Clickers are blind and attack purely based on sound. Well, if you have another enemy in your grasp when a clicker hears you, this will happen.
Watch out!
So you can save yourself from a certain death by offering up another infected as lunch instead. The next detail from The Last of Us 2 isn't quite as in your face. When travelling the world of The Last of Us 2, the objects that Ellie finds are stored in her backpack. Now, when you enter the water, of course the backpack will get wet. But what's really cool is that it's not just the outside of the backpack that gets wet. The contents inside it do too. Here is a can that is dry. And here is the same can after entering the sea. As you can see, the label and can itself are both clearly wet. It really is incredible attention to detail. So the penultimate game in today's video is the excellent Ghost of Tsushima. Much like The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima is full of tiny details that you may not have noticed. Perhaps my favourite of these is the interactions that Jin has with the fallen people of Tsushima. If you approach a dead person and bow, Jin will say things like this.
They will pay for what they did. You deserve greater respect than this. May the slain find peace.
So the final detail from today's video actually comes from the recent Halloween event in Rainbow Six Siege. The Sugar Fright event added a new map called Neighborhood that was a candy lover's wet dream. Throughout the map you can find sweets, cookies and cakes, but it's the gingerbread men that we're interested in today. If you shoot the recruit shaped gingerbread men, this will happen.
Yeah, I know I look tasty.
So we finally get to see what Recruit is packing under all of that armour. So that's it, those are some of my favourite hidden details in video games that released this year. I'll almost certainly be making a part 2 to this video, so be sure to leave your suggestions down below. If you enjoyed this video, then leaving a like is really appreciated, and if you are a fan of Easter egg secrets and details in games, then perhaps consider subscribing, as that's what this channel is all about. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.